Even before I made the decision to pursue teaching as a career, I have always strongly believed in the merit of having goals and working hard to achieve them. Now, after finishing my first practicum placement, it's something I believe in with even more conviction than I did before. I believe that fostering a classroom focused on guided goal setting and student-centered learning is paramount for the success of all students, and in encouraging students to self-evaluate frequently and reach certain checkpoints in achieving their goals, I strive to instill in them that progress towards a goal is much more important than perfection. During my practicum placement, I had a lot of time to take a step back from my experiences in the classroom as a student and see the high school experience from a whole different perspective. After learning the best practices, theories, and approaches in class for several months, seeing some of them in practice allowed me the chance to reflect on my own teaching philosophy, my beliefs, and what I've seen work with different groups of students. Once I started actually teaching, however, I would take time after each day to reflect on my actions and pinpoint what didn't work and what did work so that I can improve for next time. This recursive process helped me better understand the context, myself as an educator, and the realities of my students. It is for this reason that I believe the artifact that best illustrates my teaching philosophy is a mirror. Truthfully, education thus far has been an exceptionally introspective experience for me. After working in a low SES school in some very low-level science classes, my eyes were open to the harsh realities some of my students were facing every day in addition to their workload at school. It was a privilege to have been exposed to students afflicted by poverty, drugs, alcohol, learning disabilities, language barriers, and varying behavioral needs. Being around students who strive to improve themselves every day regardless of their current life situation and academic level really embodied the importance of goal setting in the classroom with the help of a teacher mentor like myself or my AT. For many of my students, their main goal wasn't to get straight A's in school, or to memorize as many organelles in the cell as they could so they could get into a good university. I realized the little fire and that natural curiosity that defines the field of science was still alive and well in these kids, but they just needed the right environment and the right support from an educator in order to reach their full potential. By encouraging my students to be reflective and reflexive in their academic pursuits, I hope they become more active in the process of thinking innovatively, laterally, and independently, whilst fostering a sense of accountability for their work and their goals. It is this sense of accountability that intrinsically motivates students to produce their best work, collaborate fairly with others, and strive to be the best versions of themselves both in and out of the classroom. Teaching, changing, and being reflexive often requires the deconstruction of praxis, and as I deconstruct my teaching methods and encourage my students to deconstruct how they learn based on their previous framework of knowledge, learning styles, and personal experiences, all members of the classroom team actually change because of these efforts. Students can do this by performing self-evaluations, continuously reevaluating and revising individual and classroom learning goals, and conducting intuitive, through-the-mirror writing, where students write for self-illumination and exploration, but not necessarily to create a product. Students can also engage in brainstorming activities and in group inquiry-based learning exploration activities to facilitate this reflexivity. One of the greatest takeaways my teaching experience thus far has given me is the opportunity to see myself in my students, and hopefully have my students see some part of themselves in me. Reflexivity as an educator and as a student is essential to improving and determining the most effective way to reach your goals, both the ones you set for yourself and the ones you set for your students. However, the most important key to encouraging your students to be vulnerable, open to constructive feedback, and authentic in their reflexivity is to build a positive and respectful rapport with them. When students feel like you care about their progress, about their well-being, and about them as people, they see themselves as more than a number or a percentage mark in your class. When students see themselves as a person in your class, they will be more motivated to pursue the learning goals that will set them up for a lifetime of success both within and outside of the classroom. And it is these things that I think build the blueprint for classroom success. Thank you for your attention.